there's an update in the Trayvon Martin story. You know, if you guys don't remember, he's a 17-year-old African-American kid who was walking home from a convenience store. He had bought candy and iced tea, and then a neighborhood watch male ended up shooting him for no apparent reason. But they have actually released the audio tapes of the 911 calls from that day, and now his parents are calling for a federal investigation because they don't trust the Florida Police Department that was originally handling the case. And we actually have some of the audio for you guys to listen to.
Hey, we've had some break-ins in my neighborhood, and there's a real suspicious guy. It's Retreat View Circle. The best address I can give you is 111 Retreat View Circle. This guy looks like he's up to no good, or he's on drugs or something. It's raining, and he's just walking around looking about.
Okay, and this guy, is he white, black, or Hispanic?
He looks black.
Did you see what he was wearing?
Yeah, a dark hoodie, like a gray hoodie, and either jeans or sweatpants and white tennis shoes. He's here now. He was just staring.
Oh, he's just walking around the area?
All the houses.
Okay.
And now he's just staring at me.
Okay, and so it's 1111 Retreat View or 111?
That's the clubhouse.
That's the clubhouse. Do you know what he's near the clubhouse right now?
Yeah, now he's coming towards me.
Okay.
He's got his hand in his waistband. And he's a black male.
Okay. How old would you say he
He's got a button on his shirt. Late teens.
Late teens, okay.
Something's wrong with him. Yeah. He's coming to check me out. He's got something in his hands. I don't know what his deal is.
Okay, just let me know if he does anything, okay?
Over here.
Yeah, we got him on the way. Just let me know if this guy does anything else.
Okay. These assholes, they always get away. Shit, he's running.
He's running? Which way is he running?
Down towards the other entrance of the neighborhood.
Okay. Which entrance is that he's heading towards?
The back entrance.
Are you following him?
Yeah.
Okay, we don't need you to do that.
Well, alright. Yeah. Somebody tell me what justice at. Somebody tell me what justice at. What the police that be really doing their job? What the lawyers, what the judges at? Yeah, man, it's supposed to be the land of the free, but I don't feel safe walking down the street, cause I can have all the right intentions, but the color of my skin make me look suspicious. You can murder me and not face consequences, kinda scary, yeah, but this is supposed to be America, but our kind ain't safe in certain areas. Instead of justice, man, they giving us straight violence. Discrimination, racist profiling. They only talk about the ignorant things, but the positive, they don't never mention them things. They justify wrongdoings, sipping and playing, and try to make murder look like the simplest thing. He was just walking home, he ain't do nothing wrong. Shot down cause he had a hoodie on. Last time I checked, man, this side rock. Neighborhood watch supposed to call the cops, not take the law in their own hand. But they'll never get the picture, never comprehend. That's why us as the people gotta take a stand for what's right and what we really believe in. The man living in the ghetto, man, we not a priority. To them, we just another minority, Just a bunch of bad people in some bad situations. Limited money and very little education. No intellect, no sense of value. That's exactly how they profile you, Yeah, and this situation made it all evident. Go out the police overlooking evidence. 911 wreck my nerve when they post to protect and serve, Yeah, instead of justice, they doing each other favors. From the chief to the lead investigators, Man, that could have been my little brother, man. That could have been my little cousin, man. That could have been my best friend. Could have been one of your kids. So who stand up for us when the law don't? We can't just let it go, I know I won't. Man, I won't entertain the fact that this man ain't going to jail for what he did. February 5th, 1995, just a 17-year-old kid shot down. And he wasn't doing no crime, just at the right place at the wrong time. Left his family and his friends all alone now. He on begging for his life through the phone line. When the killer ain't supposed to have a gun at all. He ain't get checked for drugs, no alcohol. Everybody rallying and everybody marching. Justice for Trayvon Martin.
So as you can hear on the tapes, they say don't follow him. He follows them anyway. Obviously, very damaging part is when he says they always get away. And apparently he'd called 911, of course, many times before. because he's looking for a confrontation. What I found most interesting is when he kept projecting, saying, oh, now he's staring at me. Well, that's because you were staring at him. You kept staring at him and called 911 on the guy. He's probably wondering, why is this guy staring at me?
And he's talking about him.
Right.
Maybe he could hear you.
Right, and he says, oh, he sounds like or he looks like he's hammered or wasted. There's something wrong with him. But now we find out the cops actually did not do what they were supposed to do, which was to find out if the shooter had actually been intoxicated. And some are saying that on the tapes, if you listen to the whole thing, Zimmerman sounds like he might be intoxicated. The whole thing is a projection. And then, of course, we know that he follows him and then eventually shoots him.
Yeah.
And yet doesn't get arrested.
All right, so last week I brought up the issue of self-defense and a duty to retreat. So in most states, if you are presented with the imminent threat of grave bodily harm or death, you have a duty to retreat from the situation unless you are in your own home. Florida is one of those states where you do not have a duty to retreat. So you can, quote, stand your ground and fight back. Now, self-defense is an affirmative defense, meaning that you have the burden of proof, the one who's claiming self-defense. So here, Zimmerman has a burden of proof. He has to prove that he was acting in self-defense. So when the police chief says things like, well, we have no evidence to say that it was not self-defense, that's nonsense, because he should have been arrested, investigated, and if his claim is self-defense, then he has to prove it. It is his duty and his burden to prove that, in fact, it was self-defense.
And two other things here. Yes, you don't have to retreat in Florida, but that doesn't mean you could run after the guy. Right? I mean, he didn't. Not only did he not retreat, not only he didn't stand his ground, he ran towards the guy. Look, think about that, right? Because in order for the self-defense to work, he has to say, like, oh my God, I was put in imminent danger, right?
Yeah.
But as Misty's pointing out, he's the one that created danger in the first place by running after the guy when the 911 dispatcher told him, don't run after the guy, right? And then they always get away, of course. And then the second part is what Steve mentioned last week, which is it has to be proportional force. In order to use fatal force, you have to think that your life is in danger, right? So what did he think he was going to do? Trayvon was going to kill him with his bag of Skittles?
Yeah, punch him to death? What could he possibly do?
Yeah, also, you have to prove two things. We have to make two showings. One is that a reasonable person in your situation would reasonably believe that his life was in imminent danger. And two, that you actually believed it, right? So would a reasonable person who's 28 years old and armed with a gun be reasonably afraid for their life when confronted with this 17-year-old boy who weighs 140 pounds, 100 pounds less than you? Is that reasonable? Okay, so that's one standard. And then the second thing is that he actually believed it. So Zimmerman has to have actually felt, oh my God, I feel so threatened, and that feeling has to be reasonable. So it's a very tough standard to prove, and the fact that he wasn't even arrested is unbelievable.
Well, that's what everyone is so outraged
me.
about. You know, they're saying it's racial profiling, that if the killer was black, he would have been arrested.
Well, look, I mean, whether it's racial or some other reason for this bias, there's a clear bias here. Whether he was paid off, maybe he's best friends with the police chief, maybe he dated the police chief's daughter, who knows? Or the police chief hates black people. I have no idea what the bias is, okay? But it looks, on the face of it, it's a racial bias.
Look, there's some chance that the police chief is just protecting the other cops that showed up on the scene by doing this half-assed nonsense investigation where he assumes that everything that the shooter said is 100% true.
Which is ludicrous.
And that he has met all obligations, which he has clearly not met. But the first cop that showed on the scene, there's less question about, because he doesn't, as I just told you, doesn't do the intoxication test on Zimmerman, but that's the least of it. Last week we reported to you that one of the witnesses said, I heard the boy shout out for help, right? And the cop says, no, you didn't. You heard Zimmerman shout out for help. She's like, no, but I heard the opposite. And then when you look at the overall investigation by the police, witnesses came out last week saying, we asked them to call us. We are witnesses. Can you call us and find out what happened? The cops have not called them because they don't want to find out the truth. At the very least, they're protecting the initial guy who came in and immediately assumed the white guy was right and the black guy who was dead was wrong, okay?
He wasn't actually white, though. I think he was Hispanic.
They are now, his dad is claiming that he's at least part Latino, to which I say, so what? What, Latinos can't be racist against black people? What, is that a new rule I'm unaware of? And then, look, crimes happen, right? And this was a particularly atrocious crime. I think the reaction by the police is much worse.
It is worse, and here's why. Obviously, it's bad for Trayvon and his family that nothing's being done. But it's also bad for society. When you have a police department that does not enforce the laws appropriately and fairly, it invites just massive chaos and vigilante justice. And you know what? I mean, if that's a standard, I could just basically kill whoever I want, just initiate a little fight with the guy, and then just pull out a gun. Like, if I wanted to kill you, I just bump into you, call you names, push you, and then when you push me back, I pull out a gun and shoot you. Self-defense.
Yeah,
right?
You might not even have to start the fight. Because if the standard is, well, the guy claims self-defense and the other guy's dead, so I believe the guy who's still alive, okay, then you just go around shooting everybody.
I mean, this is clown-ass justice. I mean, it's not justice at all, in fact, right? I mean, this is nonsense.
The police saving their asses.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is why we got to have good laws and good enforcement of laws. Otherwise, you just invite people to take matters into their own hands, which will lead to way more deaths and more injustice. It's a horrible situation.